Hey, what's going on? This is Mike, and I am the Sports Dope at that Sports Dope on Twitter and Instagram. I got a YouTube channel out there. Do not have a unique URL. You can help me out with that by subscribing. If you happen to come across the videos, that would be fucking cool of you. But if you want to find the YouTube channel, you can go to mindsofmike.com/the Sports Dope. That link is in the Instagram bio and the Twitter bio. So if you go there, you'll be able to find all the other social media links. And like I said, you throw some subscribes my way, then I'll be able to make my own URL. Obviously, you can't be expecting that shit to come too soon. You know, this is the fourth episode I'm putting out there, two per week. That's the plan. I am recording this one on a Saturday morning. Not ideal, not what I want to be doing in the future, but I had a bit of a rough week. Had some medical shit going on, minor arm surgery a week or so ago, and I got nervous. I thought it was fucking infected, but it turned out I just developed an allergy to the adhesive on the band-aids they gave me. So, good news, get to keep the arm. It's cool. Doing this week hurt, but basically missed the deadlines that I had set for myself. But going forward, I'm hoping to have both the picks and the DraftKings lineup stuff out by Thursday morning, so I'll be recording them on Wednesday night. So that's the plan going forward. So sorry if you're gonna miss out on some of this sweet action that I'm providing right now, but if I'm running a little late with the stuff, I will definitely have picks out there on Twitter and Instagram. So follow over there. And if you would have been following and you saw what I put out there on Thursday night, you would have fucking cleaned up. So get out there, right? I was all over the Jaguars. I was all over the under. I was all over the alt under at 28.5 for like plus 370. It was actually 369. Nice. But yeah, so should have got out there. Should have got on it. I got on it, and I got a nice fat fucking extra bit of bankroll to go into the weekend with. So just real quick before we dive into this week's picks, let's recap what I put out there last week. And last week was profitable. Wasn't phenomenal, but it was definitely profitable in terms of the NFL. So I started the week. I was also late with the podcast last week because I was still figuring out how to, do it and get the website. And the podcast wasn't even out last week. It's available on iTunes now, but it wasn't out last week. It was just a YouTube video and some tweets. But what I put out there was fairly decent. First game of the week last week was Tampa Bay at Carolina. That was a goddamn shit show. Both teams looked inept on offense. I think what it was Winston was just taking it easy. He didn't want to make any mistakes, and that led him to a win. And I had Tampa Bay and I had the under, so I won both of those. In terms of the locks and leans I put out last week, so I was 2-2 in those. Philly did not come through. They were close, even though everybody on their team started getting hurt. They were pretty close. And if Nelson Aguilar would have held on to that pass, we would have won that one also. Buffalo just beat the hell out of the Giants, which is what I was expecting, so that was good. Jacksonville and their defense showed up with Gardner Minshew and company on the offensive side, and they kept it close against the Texans, so that was a win for us. Tennessee, oh man, that was a fucking close one, man. I was riding the Tennessee bandwagon a little bit after they beat the shit out of Cleveland. I didn't put too much stock into it, but I thought they would show up at home, and I thought that the hey, let's rally around Jacoby Brissett as our new field general out there would have maybe worn off a little bit, and Indy wouldn't have shown up. But Jacoby Brissett, he's a quality quarterback. He's decent enough to take this team to above mediocrity. And I think the team is rallying around him, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But, yeah, so there it was. Fuck that one up. So I was 3-2 in my picks for the week, and I also gave you a teaser. Dallas, the Rams, and Detroit. Bang, bang, bang. That hit. And so, yeah, profitable week. If you listen to the YouTube, if you watch the YouTube channel too, Seattle, that one. They won outright. There you go. That was like a 2-1 dog. That was like 220. So those are some solid plays, and hopefully I can keep it up. The other games that we talked about during the week, San Francisco and Cincy. I would have bet Cincy if I was betting it. I didn't. Good thing I didn't. That was a loss. I liked Green Bay. Didn't bet it. They won. I liked Miami just because of the points, and I had no interest in betting it, and I lost that one. Seattle, like I mentioned, if I like their money line, I was definitely taking some points too. But again, didn't bet that one. Arizona I had, didn't bet it. Kansas City I said, didn't bet it. Man, I should have bet some of those side ones. And I also said the Jets, but Trevor Siemian got hurt right off the fucking bat. Cleveland just set up shop. They got an apartment. They had their own PSLs in the backfield of the Jets, and they dominated that. But in terms of the picks, just in general, all the shit that I put out there, 11-5. Not bad. Not bad. Like I said, 3-2 in the locks and the leans. If you want to count the under, that's 4-2 plus a teaser and Seattle money line. Pretty good week. Pretty good week. So now that we got the little quick recap action out of the way, let's dive into what we've got going on this week. One of the games already completed. If you were on my Twitter account, you would have seen that I said Jacksonville and the alt-under, both of them hit. I got real nervous at the end of that game there because I thought Jacksonville was going to punch it in or kick that field goal and would have put it over the 28.5, which was the alt-under line, but they decided to go for it. I understand their thought process there because the field goal wouldn't have made too much of a difference at that time, and the touchdown would have put it into a 3-score game. But still, kick the field goal. It would have made it, a 16-point difference. So you would have had 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. But instead, you went for the touchdown, didn't make it. Thank you, Doug Marrone. My alt under stood up and boom, had a nice night on a Thursday to get ready for the weekend. So let's start off with the rest of the slate on Sunday. And first game on the docket, as they say, is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo has looked very good for a game and a half. They didn't look too great the first half against the Jets. And once C.J. Mosley went out, Josh Allen was able to, get a little bit more room with the throws, with the running, and he was able to lead a comeback. The Giants have nobody on defense. Buffalo ran all over the place on them too. Frank Gore, Devin Singletary, Josh Allen, throwing the ball, John Brown. Everything was clicking for the Bills because the Giants' defense is absolutely terrible. It's trash. They have the second worst defense in the league aside from Miami, and they're starting Daniel Jones this week. I'm glad, but it's just not bright for their future. That was not like I'm nervous or I don't like Daniel Jones because guess what? They need to do it. Start the kid, see what he's got, and when he doesn't look too great and you're drafting at the front again, take another quarterback. Take somebody better. This guy is not going to be good. I don't trust him. I mean, he looked good in the preseason, but oh my God, I'm just not a believer. Not a believer. But anyway, enough about that. We're talking about the Bills and the Bengals, so I shouldn't have gone off on the Giants tangent like that, but whatever. I'm not betting on this game. The line opened up at 4.5. I guessed it at 4.5. Moved up to 6. I don't like the Bills with a big number. I get it. It's their home opener, but I think half the people drove down to the Meadowlands and the other half drove down to the Meadowlands the next week because it's still just a short trip. So I don't think the crowd's going to be raucous because it's Buffalo and they have absolutely nothing else to do there but jump through flaming tables or whatever the hell they do. But staying away from this one. The number's too big. Buffalo -6. If I had to pick it, I'm still taking Buffalo. Next game that I am not betting on, Dallas. I guessed it was going to be 13.5. I don't know what I'm thinking. That line opened at 15.5, shot up to 22.5. 22.5, absolutely ridiculous. Guess what? If I had to bet it, I'm still taking the Cowboys because Miami just has not looked like a real football team. I know they talk every year about would Alabama be able to beat the worst NFL team? And they're always like, no, there's absolutely no way. This one is a possibility. These guys are practice squad players. The only person who's worth anything is Xavier Howard. Speaking of him, he's going to be on Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup's hurt. Devin Smith coming in. I like him in a fantasy play if you're a fantasy person like that. So I'm going to scroll past some games that I'm betting on because I'm going to talk about those last. So next game that I am not betting on is another absolute trash line, and that is New England is hosting the Jets. Jets with their third-string quarterback. New England just played in a game with a giant spread last week and completely destroyed them. I believe they're going to do it again, but I'm not betting on it. I'm not laying 3 touchdowns plus in any NFL game. I don't care. I don't care at all. There's no chance that I'm doing that. I'm also not taking those points because those teams with those spreads are trash. It would probably have to be in the 30s for me to consider even taking like a Miami or a Jets in either of these situations. So not worth it. Fuck New England still. Fuck Antonio Brown. That guy sucks. He's just a complete piece of shit. It's not even worth talking about. So that's all I'm going to say. Fuck him. I hope he doesn't play again ever for anybody. So next game on the docket that I am not betting on. Carolina, after a very poor showing on a Thursday night, they go out to Arizona, taking on the Cardinals. I guess this line at Arizona -1 because Cam Newton can't throw the ball anymore. Later in the week, or the spread opened, next on the timeline of this game, the spread opened at Carolina -2.5. At that point, I was like, yo, this is going to be my sucker bet of the week. Carolina -2.5, going on the road with a quarterback who can't throw the ball? I don't think so. I do not think so. But the market quickly adjusted to that, and it became like a pick'em. Then the Panthers announced that Cam Newton is not playing. So now it's Arizona -points. I am staying away from that. I don't trust them as a favorite. I would have liked them as like a 2.5 point dog, though. That would have been pretty interesting, especially against Cam Newton, who can't throw the ball. And they looked feisty. They looked pretty good against Baltimore, which kind of leads me to believe that I was right. And Baltimore's a fraud. They haven't played a real defense yet, but we'll talk about that again later. Okay, anyway. But yeah, if I have to make a pick, I'm taking Arizona, laying the points, but I am not betting on this one. Another game coming up that I am not betting on, but it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm definitely going to watch it. If not on Sunday, I got that NFL Game Pass thing because I'm a fucking nerd, and I sit there and I watch the games of the previous week. They got the condensed versions. They're not paying me to say any of that. Nobody's paying me to say anything because this is the 4th time I'm putting anything out there. But anyway, I'm going to be looking forward to watching this game. I want to see what these teams look like, in an environment where they should both thrive somewhat because both the defenses are pretty bad, but both of the offenses haven't looked phenomenal either. So I really want to see more from both of these teams before I start laying any money on them. So yeah, not betting on this one. I guess the line at the Chargers -2.5. It opened at -3.5, and it's been bouncing between 3.5 ever since. Next game that I'm not betting on, the Saints go to Seattle. I thought it would open at 4.5. It opened at 4.5. It's still at 4.5. Gun to my head, I'm staying with Seattle. But I don't like either of these teams. Seattle didn't look great in their only and first home game against Cincinnati. But I don't know. I don't know if that was just because it was a fluke. Maybe they weren't ready. Yeah, Seattle went and looked good against Pittsburgh on the road, which is something they don't usually do. But again, Pittsburgh's defense hasn't been super great either. So I don't know how much stock to put in that. And who knows what New Orleans is going to look like without Drew Brees. So I'm staying away from this. Definitely something that I'm going to be taking a look at during the week. Because it probably won't be on. It's going to be on when the Giants are on, and I want to watch Daniel Jones. But I like Carson and Penny in DFS because New Orleans has the absolute worst run defense in the league. I think that so far, it's only 2 weeks, but still, and they haven't really played anybody great. They played, They played arthritic Todd Gurley last week, and this week, and before that, who did they play in week one? Oh, they played Houston, who doesn't even have a real running back. So how do you have the worst run defense after 2 weeks playing a team that doesn't have a running back and another one who's 24, 25, 26, however the fuck old Todd Gurley is? He's got arthritis already. And you're the worst run defense? I think Chris Carson and Rashad Penny both are going to run crazy over him. But I don't know. I don't know if New Orleans is going to rally against, the odds because Breeze went down, blah, blah, blah. So I don't like the spot for either of these teams. New Orleans stayed out on the West Coast, so that should help them a little bit, acclimating to, the travel and whatnot. So because there is none, so I'm just staying away from it. I don't like it. Next game on the slate that I don't have a pre-Sunday bet on yet is the Rams. The Rams are going to Cleveland. I thought the Rams would be a 2-point favorite and then it opened up at 1.5. Now it's Rams minus 3.5. Gun to my head, I'm still taking the Rams because the defenses of both teams have looked good. Both of the offenses have struggled, but the Browns have struggled way more than the Rams. Like, at least the Rams have put up some points. The Browns, if it wasn't for that 88-yard slant to Beckham, they would have had 2 weeks where they put under 20 points up there. So I think the Rams, even though their offense looks like it's a little rusty, I think they should be able to put up more points even in Cleveland, and the defenses should play well against some struggling offenses. I don't know how I'm going to play this game. I'm probably going to bet it because I want to watch it, and since it's the only game on, and I like to have a little bit of action, I might throw out like an under. The under opened around 52, 51, 52, and it's got bet down to about 48 already. I still like it at 48. Like I said, both of these offenses are struggling, and both the defenses are playing top-notch. So, but I'm going to see how my day goes. Like, if I'm up and I got some money to burn, maybe I'll throw a little bit on it. And if I'm down, I'm trying to catch up, I might throw some money on it. But if I'm even, I might just call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, something like that. But stay tuned, subscribe to the Twitter, follow the Twitter account, follow the Instagram account, and, you'll hear what my plans are out there. Real-time shit. Monday night, we got Chicago going to Washington. I thought this game would open Chicago -2 because they've looked so bad. It was Chicago -4.5, and now it's Chicago -4. If gun to my head, I'm taking the Redskins, but I think this is just going to be a fucking garbage game. It's going to be offenses that look like the Redskins offense looks better than the Bears offense, not by much, and the Bears defense is going to squash the shit out of that. The Bears offense has looked atrocious, like just completely bad. Like, I think the Redskins could even, hold them down. So this might be another thing. Yeah, I've been hitting those alt unders. This might be another alt under that I'm looking at, somewhere around like 34, 33, 34 for like a plus 250. But, I got nothing on this game until Monday night, and I will tweet it out when I get there. All right, let's talk about some games that I'm actually going to bet on. So let's see what we're doing here. First game that I'm actually going to wager on is Denver at Green Bay. Oh, Mike, you're taking Green Bay? That's a big score. No, I am taking Denver. I guessed it was going to be Green Bay -7. It opened at -6.5. Right now it's at 7.5, but somewhere in those travels it hit like an 8, and I bought an extra half point. So I got plus 8.5 for -115. I like that number a lot. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. Green Bay has only looked good for about 20 minutes of football in 2 games, and that was when they scored 3 touchdowns to open up the game against the Vikings. I don't think they're going to score a lot of points. Denver still has a pretty decent defense, an above-average defense, and I think that they're going to show up. They're going to be itching for a win. They got screwed last week against the Bears. Absolutely screwed with that roughing the passer call on Bradley Chubb. That was such bullshit. And that allowed the Bears to get in position to kick a game-winning field goal, and they did. So I think the Broncos, it could either deject them a little bit, or they could just, rally around a terrible call, like a whole fuck the officials, rally cry running out there. And I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So I'm also taking the under. I popped on this when it opened at 44, and I caught it at 43.5 before it dropped down. It's about 42 right now. So if I think it's going to be under, and there's a team getting 8.5 points or 8 points, I would even still take that 7.5. I'm on it. This could be I'm thinking this could be like a 17-13 game, or maybe like a 20-13. So that half point's going to play. But yeah, Broncos and the under. Give me those. Next up, game that I'm betting on. Talked about it before. Indy. I admit, I fucked this one up. I'll tell you right now. I screwed up with my betting strategy. I thought it was going to be Indy -3. So it opened at 2. Went to 2.5. And I was like, oh, let me grab that shit before it hits 3. And then it started going down. Now it's like 1.5. I got it at 2.5. It was a bad move. Bad on the line value. But, hey, we're all human. We make mistakes, right? And, I'm not a fucking professional gambler. I'm a degenerate. I'm just a fucking dude who likes action and tries to get in on it. So that's another reason I'm doing this. I want to try and learn and follow my trends a little bit better. It's tracking myself almost as much as it is, just me wanting to talk to fucking 14 people that download my shit. Anyway, so Falcons don't look good on the road. They barely looked good at home. They should have lost that game to Philly. They barely looked good. So I worry about the Falcons going on the road. And Indy, they had a good team around Andrew Luck. That's why they were a good team last year, when they finally all figured it out around week 4 or whatever. And Jacoby Brissett, he's definitely not Andrew Luck, but he can get the ball out there. And Marlon Mack has been running the shit out of the ball. And Atlanta has, I thought those guys returning on defense were going to make a difference, but it doesn't look like it. Philly was putting up points when they had no receivers. Minnesota, they ran all over them. I think Indy is going to win this one, and I don't want it to happen because it's going to affect my futures bets, because I do have some Atlanta futures, and with Drew Brees going down, I really like those Atlanta futures right now, and they could use a win, but I think they're going to run into a tough and a hungry team. Indy should be 2-0 right now, except for the greatest kicker of our generation completely blowing it out in Los Angeles against the Chargers week 1. So give me Indy -2.5. You can get it at 1.5 right now, and I think it's a steal. I think it's still a good one. All right, next up. All right, I'm going back to a well right now that I went to last week and I got burned on, but I'm doing it, right? And I hate betting on these guys because I hate them. I just hate them. But I'm putting some more money on the Eagles. And if you're somewhat of a savvy person who follows line movement and stuff, you're going to be like, why would you do that? Everybody's betting on Detroit. Everybody is betting on Detroit. But here's the thing about Detroit. They don't play well against good teams. Hell, in week 1, they didn't even play well against a bad team. They let them right back into that game. Then they should have lost that game to the Chargers. The Chargers handed it to them on the silver platter. They showed up without a field goal kicker, thinking their punter could do it. No, he can't. Guess what? Spoiler alert, he can't. So, in my mind, the Lions are almost 0-2. And now they're going into Philly? I thought this game was going to be 3.5 Philly. It opened at 7.5. I don't know what people are buying about the fucking Lions, but I'm selling it, right? Right now, it's 4.5. I'm taking it. Give me the 4.5. It's a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be, but I don't trust Matthew Stafford or the Lions or Matt Patricia. They have a lot of weapons, they do, but I just don't think they're going to play well in Philly this week. That's my logic there. Let's see. Next up, I got. So let's see. I ran through Broncos. I ran through Indy, Philly. All right, here we go. We got another one coming. So I got another number for you. I got a total for you. The Steelers. They go to San Fran. I like the over in this game. Mason Rudolph looked good when he came in there. They opened up the playbook a little bit. Ben's been there for 15 fucking years. He's got his preferences. He does what he wants to do. And they work with him because he's Ben, But he's not there no more. Mason Rudolph. I think this is gonna help the offense. Their defense hasn't looked great. Shanahan on the San Francisco sidelines is probably chomping at the bit to show off what he's got. This is their home opener. They're gonna put some points up for him, and I think the Steelers are gonna be able to do it too. I think this number of 43.5 is terrible. So let me get over. I think this game, both teams in the 20s, something like 27-24, 27-20. Yeah, give me this over 43.5 all day. All day. So, speaking of this game, I also like the Steelers money line. That's my dog of the week. Who's a good dog? The Steelers are going to be a good dog this week. I think that they're going to rally around the kid. They're going to... it could go either way, right? They might not. They might just be like, yo, we're fucking 0-2. All the veterans all over the field are going to just be like, meh, I don't care. But Mason Rudolph's going to care. And I think that they're going to show up for this one just to try and... I don't know, just to try and right the ship. When somebody that's in your squad gets fucked up, gets hurt, they're not in it, they're not playing, they're not coming out, you guys all try and go a little harder for that guy. You're out there, you're partying even harder, you're taking videos, you're sending it to him. Maybe you're trying to make him feel a little bit jealous. Maybe you're trying to prove it to him. But still, that's what the Steelers might do. Maybe nobody on the Steelers likes Ben. He's the old crotchety guy there. He's the big superstar. Maybe they just want to show that they could do it without the superstar. I don't know. I just think that the number plus 240, I think that's a decent enough number. Throw a little bit on there, and maybe the Steelers show up and rally around them and rally around the kid, and they pull something out down there. Because if they don't win this week, their season is complete toast. It's absolutely over. They're 0-3. The Ravens are looking good, and the Browns are maybe on the come up. But they've already got a win under their belts, the Browns. So Steelers are going to be sitting there at the bottom of the division with the Bengals. So if they lose this week, it's completely over. I think they show up. I think Tomlin lights a fire under their asses. And I think they got a shot as a dog. But the main number I like is the over 43.5. Give me that over 43.5. If you listen to the Daily Fantasy show, I also like Raheem Mostert in my lineup. I think he's a solid play there. Tevin Coleman's still out, so somebody's got to run the ball there. And Matt Breida did well, but they were splitting carries, and I like Mostert. Mostert got the best out of his half of the carries. Last thing up on the slate, I'm going to go with a teaser. Right, let's get a little tease action. So, speaking of Baltimore, they're going to Kansas City. Kansas City is a 5.5-point favorite. Tease Kansas City to +0.5. I came into the season thinking Baltimore was a fraud. They've played two teams that are not good, and they've dominated the first one, and the second one didn't look so great. But they still pulled it out. I don't like them long term. I think that the offense is a joke. It's a gimmick, and it'll work some weeks. But when you get against some savvy defensive coordinator, they're going to be able to put a stop to it if it's a gimmick. And Andy Reid brought in Spagnuolo. I think that he'll be able to slow them down enough. But just in case, I'm going to throw this one in my teaser. Just in case. If this was a primetime game and I was down or up, I would throw the house on Kansas City. But I'm just going to stick with the teaser. I'm going to make sure that this game is on at the house I'm going to. And... let's win something on that, right? So, next up on the teaser, I am going with Minnesota. Minnesota, I don't know if they turned it on after Green Bay was up 21 fucking nothing, or if they, I don't know. I don't know what it was. They didn't look super great last week, but they didn't look bad. But they looked great in the first week against a dynamic offense in the Falcons at home. And guess what? They're home again. And guess who they're playing? Not a dynamic offense. They're playing Oakland. They'll be able to stop the run. Derek Carr has nobody to throw to. And I think that they can really dominate this game. The one thing I will say is they're not going to be able to run it as well as they did because Oakland does have a sneaky good run defense. So they're going to have to rely on Cousins. And since it's a daytime game, not a primetime game, I think he'll be able to pull it out. But I don't like it at 10, but I love it at like 3. I think it's at 9 right now. So my teaser is 3. So Minnesota -3 in the tease. Last one for the 3-team tease, I got Tampa Bay. I mentioned the Giants. I think Tampa Bay is going to just smoke them. But there's a little bit of me that says the team didn't like Eli Manning, and they're going to rally around the new kid, and maybe they put up a little extra 10% effort, right? So I don't think they have it in them to win the game at all, so I'm going to tease it down to Tampa Bay in a pick. But I think the Tampa Bay offense they're going to let Jameis loose. I think they got plenty of time to prepare for it. They're on extra rest. The game's at 4 o'clock, so depending on how the 1 o'clock games go, I might even throw a little bit of scratch on the Tampa Bay -6. That line's actually been moving towards the Giants for some reason. I have no idea why. The Giants have no business even being close to anybody, especially a team like Tampa Bay, whose defense has looked very good. They've looked very good, and they've got a dynamic offense when the Giants have no defense, and they're playing in Tampa. It just doesn't, I don't know, maybe they're thinking that all the New Yorkers that fucking moved down there to retire are going to be at this Tampa game, so they're thinking it might be a slight home game, a better home field advantage than the Giants have in their own stadium because everybody in New York hates them because they're so inept and terrible. Got to take a breath. Anyway. Give me Tampa Bay in a teaser. Tease them down to a pick. So, quick recap. Let's run through everything, what we said, just real quick. So, the locks and leans, I got the Broncos as a lock. I got the San Francisco Pit over as a lock. I'm leaning towards Indy. I'm leaning towards Philly. And I'm leaning towards the Green Bay Denver under. The dog of the week. Let's throw a little bit, like a half a unit on the Steelers, +240, just in case they rally around this guy, because I don't really trust what San Francisco's done so far. They did it against Cincinnati. They did it against, didn't mean to bang my wedding ring on the table and make a loud noise right there, but they did it against Cincinnati. If they didn't get 2 pick sixes against Tampa Bay, that whole San Francisco-Tampa Bay game in week 1 is a different story. I haven't seen them do it against anybody good, and the Steelers have, something to rally around, so I like them at +240 for, a small bet. And then for the teaser, we got Kansas City +0.5, Minnesota -3, and Tampa Bay down to a pick 'em. All right? That's what I'm betting on this week. Follow or don't. That's up to you. I'm just out here just talking shit. If you want to see me talk shit more during the week, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @ThatSportsDope. The website, not the website. What the fuck is a website? The website is mindsofmike.com/thesportsdope. Let's cash up tickets. Let's fucking get paid. Peace.